exploding into map 1. This is it, the final match of today, and perhaps the most anticipated one too. And we're going to kick things off on vengeur's point of view as he gets himself the mega spawn.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta just say it early on is that what would be probably, you know, momentum early on in any Quake game is super important. But I think right now vengeurR knows he's sort of playing against, right, who is, I mean, easily the top player in the QPL right now. So getting that first frag, finding that momentum early in map number 1 would probably be huge for his own mindset, for his confidence, momentum going into further games. But I'm not also surprised to see this very slow style of play starting off here as the first shots are fired now, as both players even giving up the major items just to try to determine where their opponent is.
That was just a tense battle over the railgun. Railgun was the bigger prize than any of the major items in that fight. k1llsen spawned on it, and he was just sitting below waiting for vengeurR to make a move. He was hoping that the Maestro player would try to jump across. He wasn't hoping for that though, not even the direct rocket to the face of the bounce pad can save him there, and vengeurR. Nice bout of aggression, k1llsen mega spawns. Will help him out, and he's actually got some time to apply pressure on the heavy as well. Oh, no! k1llsen!
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know.
I mean, take a snapshot, ladies and gentlemen. That was a pretty rare mistake from k1llsen. I think that 9 out of 10, that would have ended up in the exact same result, getting LG down. He knew exactly where his opponent was, but kind of gave vengeurR the open opportunity to just, here's another frag for you. vengeurR easily converts, and this is that momentum I was talking about. Like, vengeur's looked good so far. There's a couple rails I kind of wished he would have hit. Just, I think that would have probably helped out, but that's a pretty solid start here, 2-0.
I honestly think that k1llsen, I think k1llsen figured that vengeurR wouldn't make a play for heavy. k1llsen thought, oh, okay, I've done enough damage right here with a machine gun, you know, from the mega. He's not going to actually commit to jumping onto heavy. And so k1llsen, when he jumped across, he was just looking towards rocket side with the railgun out, expecting vengeurR to maybe try and get a cheeky angle in there. But no, vengeurR was just sitting on heavy with LG out, and k1llsen, at that point, you know, he's already flying through the room. That LG beam hits you like a truck, freezes your momentum, and k1llsen tragically drops alive.
Some great rails coming out here from both players. Some nice LG from vengeurR there. That then connected into a rail. k1llsen answers back with one of his own. And that's kind of what I expect to see a lot of in this matchup, Fleet. I mean, the fly-by-night rails that we were seeing out of k1llsen last week were absolutely nutty. Now, vengeur's got a couple of his own. Just great positioning, awareness on where he thinks his opponent is. He is able to grit that heavy again, but k1llsen with the equalizing to getting a rail, and that is going to take some of those stacks away. So far, I'm happy with what we've seen in this matchup, but vengeur's still protecting that lead.
Both players were sitting at exactly 50% railgun each just a moment ago. It's proving to be once again an impactful weapon. Nice push from vengeurR. k1llsen switching to the tribal was not the play there, and there we go. 1, 2, 3. Down goes the man from Team Big. He's taking damage.
All right.
Yeah, damage
all right.
off spawn. k1llsen dropping yet another frag. This is looking good for the Italian.
This is a championship vengeurR right here. Look at these rails. That's 5, that's 6 in a row. Suddenly up to 73% on that rail. 11 shots hit out of the 15. And k1llsen, you know, usually his answer is also railing. vengeurR is just on fire right now. Another rail. Rocket jump up to the bridge. Going to try to see if he can capitalize yet again. Waiting outside the teleporter. Rocket does go down. It does not connect, however. And what a solid start here for vengeurR as we are 30 seconds away from the halfway point, and he is up by 5.
75% railgun accuracy indeed. This vengeurR is landing most of these shots. A lot of that also has to do with the fact that k1llsen didn't have railgun for several of these engagements. Spawned, immediately takes a rail to the face. vengeurR continues applying pressure. Yeah, how do you retaliate against that? There's nothing you can do. Now the Ghost Walk does get forced out. k1llsen getting a good read right there. Unable to really follow through. But right now his priority is going to be just making sure that the items go his way, that he can get that consistent control. Because so far the items are perfectly split between the two. vengeurR has taken almost all the heavies. k1llsen has secured almost all the megas. He's hoping to change that now. That's a risky push. Rockets aren't connecting. No.
Wow.
That's
And Ghostwalk was just seconds away too, so that would have been bad for k1llsen either way. But speaking of Ghostwalk, and would love to hear your opinion on this, Lee, but the we actually haven't seen vengeurR use Ghostwalk that much in this matchup, which I think is a testament to how well he is playing this long-range game against his opponent as he gets another frag, number 7 with a double rail, and that is really clear to me. I think that twice we have seen it, and both times it has gotten him out of a sticky situation, as it oftentimes does, but the fact that he hasn't even gotten in those situations versus an opponent like k1llsen is super impressive.
The Ghost Walk for vengeurR right now is just a contingency plan, and that's all it is. He knows that he can't deal, or he can't match the speed that Slash can bring, right? If Slash really gets going, before you know it, she's on top of you, right? Right there, just as we're talking about it, before you know it, Slash rounds the corner, closes any gap, and is right on top of you. And vengeurR knows that if that happens, his entire defense can simply crumble and fall apart. So he's holding on to the Ghost Walk for those situations. And like you said yourself, Weed, indeed, it's just a testament to his skill and his expertise that he's been able to hold it off so much.
All right, I mean, vengeurR looking amazing. Just, I mean, 7 minutes in, this is, and listen, you know, it's already hard enough to come back in a game on Blood Covenant with this wide of a frag difference, but when your opponent also can sort of ghost walk and just buy themselves that extra time, it becomes even more, you know, devastating. Now, here's the interesting thing. We were all sitting here going, oh, we're so expecting these close games, right? I'm actually blown away and think this is quite remarkable because k1llsen is undefeated in this league. He just took down Rafa in an amazing fashion, and now we're seeing vengeurR pretty much manhandle that person that we just talked about. A great direct rocket right there, and that is impressive when you look at how vengeurR has been performing over the last few weeks. Like, we know that that monster is in there waiting to be unleashed, and it looks like the chains have come out.
Indeed, I mean, it's something we didn't really have a chance to talk about before we started this map, but vengeurR has been practicing a lot more, right? If you've watched his Twitter activity, he's been tweeting very frequently about, you know, I'm going live, I'm practicing with these players, I'm just working on my game. There was a moment a few weeks ago where he was really like, okay, you know, break time's over, now I'm back, now I'm fully committed, the grind begins again now. I think it's really starting to pay off. So far, his performance has been a little inconsistent throughout this stage, but I am all for what I'm seeing. Ghostwalk came back at just the right moment there. Another half second, and vengeurR would have been dead for sure. But he manages to spoil k1llsen's efforts once again, and wait, with 80 seconds left on the clock, I do think that the Maestro man is going to be able to secure the win, even if k1llsen now strings a few frags together. That Ghost Walk, it's going to be too strong defensively.
Agreed. I mean, it's still not up for another 15 seconds, but you can see what vengeurR's thought is I'm going to grab myself a rail, make sure I have that in my arsenal. k1llsen does pick up another one, but now a minute to duck and dodge throughout this in order to take this victory. That's huge. I think for k1llsen, getting those 2 frags, also huge. Does not want to go in a situation, beautiful rail from the mid to the rail bridge, and he does not want to go into a game 2 situation where, you know, he did not score a frag. So there we're going to see the Ghost Walk popped. It is going to allow him to get out of there and put himself in a position where he can just grind a few more of those seconds off of the clock. he is still saying, hey, I can give up this frag. It's not that big of a deal. I'll try to get one of my own. k1llsen does land that one, but of course then waiting off the respawn timer, that's going to make it mathematically impossible for k1llsen to bring this one back. So huge win for vengeurR. I think a pretty good momentum swing for k1llsen there at the end, as he needs that going into game number 2.
Yeah.
You do not want to, in the shape and condition you're in, to have a game where your opponent basically has a flawless victory against you. That's bad news. But Rail did equalize itself on vengeurR down to 51, but he had those 6 in a row that popped him to 73, and that was really where vengeurR just said, I'm here to make a statement, please.
Now, looking at the item pickups, k1llsen really did dominate both the majors as well as those small armors as well, and I think that's just a testament to how consistent damage, or how consistent the damage was that vengeurR was putting out. Constantly pressuring him with heavy machine gun, with a railgun from a distance. And indeed, that was his battle plan going into this. I'm going to play the distance game, see if I can outdamage k1llsen from far away. If he gets close, I just pop my Ghost Walk, we swap places, and it worked perfectly. Very deserved victory from vengeurR. He went in with a plan, made good on it too, and that will have secured him map 1. Now, as you said, k1llsen did get a few nice frags at the end, starting to build a little bit of momentum on his own. That's important going into map 2. He wants to feel confident in his aim again, because we know exactly what he's capable of.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, I don't think it's ever a bad thing to lose versus a player of the caliber like vengeurR. But you're thinking about the series momentum here a little bit. You've just come off of some of the best series of your life, and I think it's helpful going then into that map 2 and sort of being in the right place mentally to sort of take it into the next one. But I think vengeurR gave k1llsen a lot to think about here between game 1 and game 2, because to your point, he has been putting in more work. He is wanting to return back to form. Obviously, a champion like vengeurR, you taste that a little bit, and you want to taste it again. You're gonna chase that. And so this is really great to see this vengeurR return in the form that he's in. But will this continue, or is k1llsen going to have his opportunity to stop it in its track in game 2? We're about to find out as we move on to Corrupted Keep, where k1llsen will be on the Strogg and vengeurR will be on the Ranger.
Interesting champion matchup, right? We know that Strogg can be extremely powerful on this map because 1, the mobility, crouch sliding helps him out so much, and 2, the peeker is a real force to be reckoned with because there's no railgun on the map, and railgun is of course the primary counter to the robot, the easiest way to take it down instantly, and you don't have that on the map that is Corrupted Keep. So if k1llsen can get some distance between himself and vengeurR, that peeker can really put in some work.
Ooh, an orb right at the beginning of the match. k1llsen sees his opponent grab that mega and then disappear. And that meant that vengeurR actually got his hands on both of those major items. Not a super sick start there for k1llsen, but at least he knew exactly how that happened, why that happened, and probably wasn't too surprised considering that he's up against that Ranger.
Now, k1llsen, he definitely is going into this hoping to keep a little bit of distance of his own. Oh, because otherwise that happens. The orb, right? You've got some damage into a shoddy or a rocket. It is lethal. And k1llsen wants to avoid that. He wants to be able to play his strengths. And that lies on this map and with this champion pickup in his mobility and in the Strogg. He wants to fight vengeurR from a distance, close the gap at his convenience, maybe use the peeker to draw out some damage. But he does not want to be at a point-blank fight with the rockets that vengeurR can deliver, especially not on Ranger.
Yeah, now k1llsen slowing it down a little bit. I think not having that LG is having him play a little bit conservative as he is waiting now for that heavy to pop. There it is, now making his way around through the back hallways. And let's see what his game plan is going to be here. He certainly does not want to see that frag gap widen at all. Only 90 seconds in, and both players definitely playing these positions and holding on to what they have to. I do think k1llsen, again, looking for an opportunity to maybe go in and finish up, arming up for, an arsenal. I think LG is incredibly important here, and as gets fired upon, some rockets do hit defensively. vengeurR very, very low. k1llsen knows it. He's looking for a killing blow, tries to get it with that shotgun, does end up finding it, as vengeurR is back up against the wall there, and k1llsen puts himself on the board. We're tied 1-1.
Interesting to see that k1llsen went for the LG, which is the main weapon he was still lacking, rather than going for heavy right away. I think he had a good chance of picking up heavy, but maybe he wasn't confident in his timing, or maybe he was a little wary of vengeurR getting a good shoddy spawn and just holding his own right there. So k1llsen playing it a little safe right there, and now he's in trouble. Doesn't get the damage he needs with the peeker to be able to make that work, but vengeurR is hurting. That last rocket did a hell of a lot of damage still, and now k1llsen is really not in too bad of a shape to take these fights, but he's got to be careful about those huge rockets. We all know that that's something that vengeurR is particularly well known for, the defensive rocket barrage. And k1llsen falls victim to it this time.
I mean, denying weapons seems to be a part of vengeur's game plan here, but on the same, I guess on the same plane, like k1llsen's taking some fights without much of an arsenal, and that's a little scary at times, right? I mean, your little machine gun's not going to be doing much versus the rockets and LG that you're having to dodge, and that's put him in some pretty rough spots here. Now he is going to get a little bit aggressive here with the LG. His opponent goes for that heavy. Heavy is down. That LG is answered back, and vengeurR, though, very, very low. He's going to have to go for these 2 25s in the red room, and he does grab them, but opponent knows exactly where he's at. The orb comes out and nicely positioned, is able to convert that one into yet another frag, and vengeurR now looking at a 3-point lead.
Interesting to note, though, is that neither player has really been able to dominate the flow of the items, right? Every single time that a frag gets exchanged, it's the other player who gets to pick up the major item. So we don't have anyone who's been in a position to rotate heavy and mega together and build a tremendous amount of momentum. So it's a constant back and forth. And it usually just comes down to how a certain fight goes. You know, there's no big flows of control, one player in it, the other player out it. So far, the stacks have been typically even. And then it just comes out to whoever has the best mechanics, positioning, and strategy going into particular fights. And so far, that's been vengeurR.
Flea, let me ask you a quick question. I mean, obviously, we're still very early. We're not even to the halfway point. But if vengeurR were to say, come off of this with a 3-0, would you say that that is an upset in the grand scheme of what's happened? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's difficult to talk about that as an upset when I just said that 5 out of the 6 recent games they've played against each other went in vengeur's favor. But k1llsen has just been looking unbeatable, right? He's just been undisputable #1 for this stage so far. He's lost just one map in week 1 against Havoc. Other than that, he's cleaned everyone. So if he now loses 3-0 to vengeurR, who, you know, is a champion of his own but has had a mid-range performance so far, that would definitely be an upset in my opinion.
Yeah, it's great points, and I like kind of what Chad has said here, is that, you know, the nice thing is with everyone losing games during the season, it's just going to make the end of the season and the finals that much more interesting, and I cannot agree more. That is an exciting storyline where someone cannot just easily predict what may happen, as we see a lot of shakeups here over the course of Season 3, and k1llsen now is trying to claw his way back, Flea. So we're trying to see him pick up and convert yet off of another frag. It is, you know, not been easy for him, but there's still a lot of time here. But to your point, no one's truly had full control outside of that initial spawn that we saw. And a huge orb to the face from vengeurR. He was very, very low and comes out of that one very, very low, but still manages to pull another one off, protecting his 5 frag lead.
And I think that the story of the control can just be told by looking at the items alone. k1llsen has picked up 10 major items, vengeurR has picked up 13. It's really, really close. Neither player consistently getting both. But now, time starting to get a little dire for k1llsen. Of course, this is corrupted keep, so you can get that snowball effect where you just chain frag together. Oh! That might just be the opening that he needs, Sweet. vengeurR stepping off the Mega a second too soon, giving it up for free. this might be the boost that k1llsen needs, but that is not gonna help him. The float almost proving fatal. k1llsen still gets the frag, but he sacrificed so much stack right there, Wheat.
He did, and I mean, we could probably argue all day on was that the right move, and I guess it's just going to come down to, like, did he claim victory over that? Because on some perspective, he knows, like, I've got to fight, right? I can't win by not engaging, and so I think that that was a pretty big decision by him, but he's going to try to keep this pressure going as he's got Veng sitting in the back. For vengeurR, this is fine. He's able to kind of waste some time. But he's got to be careful as he steals away that. Yep, you're right. He did have no more rockets and had to disengage there. So now we're going to see what happens with our major items as they're both going to be popping around the same time. k1llsen's going to grab that heavy. vengeurR, oh, he sits outside. He didn't grab the mega. He's going to go in for it after he takes a lot of damage, and k1llsen comes out of that one pretty hurt.
k1llsen had 0 rockets and 11 cells of LG, so even if it came down to an LG battle, he would have run out well before getting the frag on vengeurR, and I think that was a critical part in his decision to leave right there, because he really had vengeurR caught in a bad spot. And that may just end up being critical, because now we've got 2 minutes, 4 frags. vengeurR can already tell that he's playing this a bit more defensively than he was earlier, right? Not making as much noise, sitting on banana for a little bit, just waiting and seeing what k1llsen does first. And I think that vengeurR now is going to try and just use the rockets, kill the angles, not allow k1llsen to get close to him. And if he does, well, he still has the orb. So this is so difficult for the German.
It really is, and it's even more difficult considering that a lot of these defensive shots and positions that vengeurR have been taking have been super effective. Rockets as you're coming around the corner, not being able to really use peeker in those back hallways the way that k1llsen might want to. Now he's got himself a nice stack, right? So here's his moment to try to just put it all out there on the table. Let me try to find 4 frags. It's still going to be tough as we hit the 1-minute warning here. And I think vengeurR is going to try to summon every ounce of discipline that he has and will just play keep away. But there's a big rock jump. k1llsen going out, grabbing some momentum. LG does get popped. Both players LG and out, but a good disengagement there from vengeurR, and he's playing this the way he needs to ensure himself a win.
There we go. Good frag from k1llsen, just before Mega spawns as well. Heavy is still ages away, no small armors around for vengeurR. This is still an opportunity, but he has to find them. And vengeurR is proving to be slippery. k1llsen making the wrong choices as to where to go, wildly flailing his aim around. And I think vengeurR isn't even gonna move.
No, he did. We got to see him.
k1llsen knows it.
Yeah, he knows it. Last 10 seconds, GG comes out. He was just tucked away next to that heavy armor. k1llsen went right past him. At this point, he kind of knew, well, I can chase my opponent and just get more frustrated, or we can go prepare for our third and final map. But you look at that, k1llsen with 8 frags across 2 games to the 15 frags of vengeurR. And we'll see vengeurR take the series. Pretty big considering that vengeurR was sitting at 3-3. That will give him at least a winning record moving forward. k1llsen now finds a blemish, on his overall record, but still super impressive with coming into this matchup with a 6-1, right? Had this been another opponent, I think k1llsen maybe be a little bit upset about it. Not sure if he's just not feeling it today as much as he had the last few weeks, but still 6-0 against some of the opponents, including Rafa, the last one that you play. That's something to be proud of and something to walk away from. vengeurR, though, I guess stop the presses and recall what's been printed, because the champ's back, right? This is really, really impressive play by vengeurR, and I'm happy to see it. This is exciting.
vengeurR's proving us all wrong, We were all on the k1llsen train, but vengeurR making a stand, and I'm all here for it. I love seeing the young blood just do so well, and this man is really stepping up to the stage now. And indeed, both of us, we were favoring k1llsen, and then of course you have 40 who took the coward's way out and just excused himself and signed off before we could even ask him about his predictions. But yeah. vengeurR will already get the 2 wins he needs to secure the overall victory in this series. But of course, this is the Quake Pro League, so we will see all of the 3 maps through, because there is money to be earned on all of them. And the final map, will be Ruins of Sarnath, where we are going to see k1llsen play Visor, and vengeurR will be running the Galena.
Yeah, if I was 40, by the way, I would come back and say, well, you guys didn't let me give my prediction, and I was totally going to say vengeurR 2-1 or vengeurR 3-0. So 40, I expect that when you get back. So yeah, Ruins, we've got information versus, right, a little bit more in terms of healing and damage utility overall. Rail, big one, I think, going to be determining what we see here from Ruins. But as we've seen from the other maps, both players kind of playing really good control games when they have the opportunity to. This is also one of those maps where control can kind of snowball out of your favor if the major items get a little bit, if they, start to, the time starts to drift apart a little bit more. So I'll be interested to see what balance we're going to get between overall item control and, maybe if vengeurR, now sitting really comfortable with the 2-0 series win, might decide to, get and be his sort of aggressive, kind of wild, normal self. So here we're officially starting. k1llsen grabbed himself the heavy. vengeurR is going to be who will be looking through, and he's just going to quiet it up as he can get ready for this first assault.
Good rail. First chunk of damage will be going in favor of the German. Oh, vengeurR is not in a good spot right now. Doesn't have LG, doesn't have rail. All he's got to work with are the rockets, and he's got no mobility to try and escape this. This should be a clear frag for k1llsen, and indeed, he will get it. And at a very opportune moment as well. Look at this, vengeurR spawning on the opposite side of the map. Won't be able to make a move on Mega if k1llsen has anything to say about it. But no, vengeurR, so quick, throws himself through that teleporter to still get there on time. And hello, k1llsen. 100% accuracy, Wheat. 7 shots, 7 hits.
God. Give him that seer. If I've ever seen a seer deserved, it was that one right there into the 2 more shots to make it 3 frags. And this is, right, this is the k1llsen who obviously shook it off in between game 2 and 3 and said, bring it, right? Like, what you're capable of. Maybe smacked himself in the face a couple times, splashed some water, I don't know. But he's still at 100% flee. 9 shots. Is this the game? Is this the run?
I sure hope so. You love to see it. k1llsen is just going for 1,000 points of damage without missing a rail. So far, he's hit 10 shots consecutively. And vengeurR just doesn't have an answer. vengeurR doesn't have a rail either, so he can't retaliate at that distance. He's looking for a way to get that crucial weapon, but k1llsen is not allowing him. Now, in turn, of course, k1llsen still doesn't have rockets. He's been on this map for 2 whole minutes, and he hasn't ventured into the rocket room once. He's just content using LG and rail. You see the gun poke around the corner, and k1llsen, he knows, and he lands another 12 shots, 1,000 points of damage. This is nasty.
I don't know that I've ever seen that in a professional game of 2 players of this caliber. That is absolutely 13. Oh my God, he finally misses one, but then immediately falls back with another one. After 16 shots, 87%, a 4 frag lead. This is k1llsen in his final form right here.
Absolutely. Oh my God, he's just not stopping. Okay, k1llsen has done 1,400 points of damage this map week. 1,348 have been with the railgun. Literally everything except for 50 points of damage have been rail. It's the only thing he's used. Now, at long last, he uses the LG a little bit as well, but up until that point, it was literally 99% of his damage came from the railgun alone.
I'm being told that Base did something equally impressive as well, but I just got to say, either way, anyone does it, like, that's an impressive feat right there, unless you're, playing like a bot or something. So anyway, it's so incredible just how much he's turned it back on, right? k1llsen 5-0 right now, looking really good. He's controlling so well. This is obviously, item control's been pretty balanced back and forth. But, what do you do when you constantly can't feel safe in a map like this, Flea, right? Like, that's what k1llsen is doing here to his opponent.
I mean, I still remember way back in the day, and we're talking 3 years ago now, something like that, there was this monumental match between Rafa and k1llsen at LAN, and k1llsen just landed 4 vertical rails in a row on Molten Falls, just ending Rafa right then and there. And afterwards in the interview, I asked Rafa, like, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with that kind of rail pressure? And he said, you just gotta ride it out, because they're going to start missing. But what if they don't? What if they don't? What if k1llsen is still 74% railgun accuracy? What do you do then? Yeah, I don't know. vengeurR, he managed to get himself a few frags, but it hasn't resulted in consistent control yet.
Nah, it didn't. And you kind of realize that that's going to be harder and harder when your opponent's also on visor, right? In that particular situation, coming off of a frag, using piercing sight to absolutely know exactly where your opponent is, to know, can I get a conversion? Is there an area that I can deny them, this or that? And I think that vengeurR is sort of reading this. He knows how much damage he's doing. He's going in, he's grabbing some of those frags back. This is still a pretty close game, right? We need to kind of move away from the chapter that was like, he landed 100% rails after 14 shots, like he can't lose this one. He still absolutely can, right? We've got half of a game left here. He did play out of his mind. We saw k1llsen come out, but vengeurR has kind of been bringing back exactly what he needs to do. Not shooting obviously the same accuracies that we're seeing from k1llsen, but right, he is, I think, definitely playing with his brain, and I'm curious to see how this one will play out. There's only 4 frags separate these two.
I mean, vengeurR's figured out that he cannot take a railgun match against k1llsen anymore. He could do that on map 1, Blood Covenant. That was his strategy going into that. Worked out well. But now he's come to the realization that on Ruins, right here, right now, he is not going to outrail k1llsen. So he needs to just play it differently. He needs to apply pressure, get up close and personal, make the Rockets and LG do the talking for him. He's also doing pretty good job at getting those totems down. Had 2 with a 3rd one in hand, but k1llsen has cleaned 1 of them up. So he won't yet have that overstack of his own make soon.
Yeah, and needs to be hitting those shots. So it's a good opportunity. Mega is picked up. No armor stack for k1llsen. vengeurR knows he's done some damage, but not ready to overcommit to that particular fight. However, with the clock ticking away, Flea, you know that vengeurR's going to be thinking about it a little bit. One may have to choose, like in a situation like this, I need to take these rail fights, and that one paid off for him as he now makes it a 3 frag game, still behind, but he's given himself a chance.
I wasn't looking at the stacks right there, so I don't know if the totem put k1llsen at railable stack, but it sure didn't help him. For sure. Now, Heavy will be the next major item. Oh, vengeurR caught looking completely the wrong direction there. He thought k1llsen was still in Mega Room, but k1llsen already long left. Now it's gonna be Raze who will take position on Heavy first. vengeurR, he heard that. He heard that little grunt from k1llsen jumping down below, so now he knows how he can approach this. Oh, k1llsen very late to react right there. Not sure what was up with that.
Caught him in a slow walk. Just wanted to take it easy, and suddenly it was like, I wasn't done there yet. But I think k1llsen playing this one strategically, running down that clock, playing it slow. He is, as a result, kind of giving away some positioning here. But it is sort of the burden of vengeurR to be chasing down those frags. So, right, being as meticulous as possible, the LG comes out. Wow. What a rail back, and then he answers with one of his own, but he is in the danger zone. Mega is up. He's going to grab that, puts himself back, but he needs to try to convert here. Big opportunity to do just that. Heavy is up. Was thinking about firing a rail in there, instead snuck in a rocket. It didn't do much, but less than 2 minutes to go, and there's 2 frags needed from vengeurR to try to make this a 3-0 and stop k1llsen here on Ruins.
That was a sick rail by vengeurR as well, because k1llsen read him perfectly. k1llsen had already positioned his crosshair above, you know, that little rocky outburst right there. He knew what vengeurR was going for, and yet still, the Maestro player was just a little too fast, landed the flick before k1llsen did. Oh, that's a costly rail to take. That is preventing vengeurR from setting up on the middle area of the map. With a minute left to go,
Yeah.
this is difficult.
That was a big rail, just kind of stopping, and another big rail. This could be it for k1llsen as he does land another one. He doesn't even switch over. He knew he did a ton of damage. There's a potential for a conversion frag right here too, and that could seal the deal, and it probably just did. Suddenly, this 2-frag game went to a 4-frag game as k1llsen kind of taking it easy, landing some real nice rails, stopping vengeurR in his track and giving him the momentum to widen that lead. We've got less than 20 seconds left to go, and k1llsen says and declares, I will not go down 3-0 in this one, and still makes it quite an exciting matchup overall. There's another big rail coming out from k1llsen as vengeurR knows this one's over, and with 10 seconds left, k1llsen is not going to be shut out in this one. He does manage to find and connect with railsen, and we will see the final seconds tick away. 5 to 10, k1llsen taking that one, but vengeurR with the series victory. And ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a season right here.
We sure do. vengeurR continuing that trend of wins against k1llsen. Very good job. That makes it, I think, 6 out of the 7 most recent games that he has beaten the German player from Team Big. Now k1llsen suffers his first loss from the stage. Now I'm very curious to hear what 40 has to say about that. Come on back, 40, share your wisdom. What do you think about that series?
Just, I want to say that I knew it the whole time, with my prediction, locking it in. No, that's insane. Welcome back, vengeurR. That was quite the performance. Even on map number 3 where he fell a little short, like he still had that glimmer of like, damn, he could do this. I do feel like, and I saw some people in chat talking about it, that the railsen show on map number 3 might overshadow the fact that vengeurR just took out k1llsen in the set. Because, I mean, 13 rails in a row, big. I don't know if you got a jersey number for him. It should be 13. But fantastic display of performance and just endurance from vengeurR. I mean, grinding it out, as you said, Philippe, practicing more and more, tweeting about it, saying, hey, I'm going to hold myself accountable. He always said that he wasn't really playing his best. He didn't have the time that he wanted to practice, and now we're starting to see him put the hours in again, and it's absolutely paying off. To come up this big and beat someone that's been on such a hot streak is absolutely amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, right, this probably represents really good feelings and positive attitudes, momentum for vengeurR. He to your point, 40, he'd mentioned, right, I want to be able to give everything I can. I haven't necessarily been in that situation. Here he is, coming off a victory versus k1llsen, right? Arguably one of the most difficult opponents in the entirety of the league. That's got to be good for you to say, wow, okay, whatever I'm doing is working. I'm going to keep on doing that. But I think as a fan, as a commentator, I am so happy to see vengeurR playing the way that he just played versus k1llsen. It's been a delight to watch all of these players really find their own dominance here in QPL, and this kind of a shakeup, I think, or I don't know, maybe return to form makes things even more exciting across the board.
Yeah, it's just really nice to see vengeurR realizing that potential of his again, right? Because you don't want to see the previous grand champion now in 5th place with 3 wins, 3 losses. That just not befall him well, right? We know that he can do better, and like you said, 40, it's about time that he's holding himself accountable, and we're all here for the show. We want to see vengeurR doing well. k1llsen fought like an absolute tiger, but in the end, the last map is where he's shown the brightest, and overall, vengeurR just had his number and outplayed him for the first 2 maps. So congratulations, Team Maestro. This is a well-deserved victory.
Well deserved indeed. And with that 4th match done, that puts us at the end of the day, and I feel like we've learned a lot today. Any given Saturday, anyone can come up big. Upsets are prevalent throughout the league, and with the shakeup, I mean, it's going to be great as we move closer and closer to finals. But we also learned never talk shit to DJ Week because he will put you in your place. So, final words, Flea, what do you have to say?
Another great day of matches, right? I think we had a few upsets in the end. k1llsen dropping down, Zeniku getting that 3-0 win. Dramas having a great streak against some of the best in the world, but still succumbing to Havoc. And then the first match was Razy holding his own against Nosfa. Very fun day, short but sweet. And I'm very happy to be part of the Quake Pro League as usual, and I look forward to see what comes next.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Flea just said. Thank you, 40. Thank you, Flea. It's always a pleasure to be with you two on the mic. I just want to say thank you to everyone that turns up. You know, whether you just discovered Quake in the last couple years or you've been around for, you know, since the beginning. It's so awesome to just see the Quake community come out for these matches every single week. For those that are playing in the qualifiers, it's so appreciated. The players appreciate it. Casters, production, even as a fan, I appreciate it. So thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me come around for the ride, and I will see you in a couple more weeks.
Yeah, pleasure to have everybody. Always a pleasure to share the desk. Big shouts to production, all the players, everybody in the chat for supporting. Tell all of your friends. Quake every Saturday, except for next Saturday. We got challengers, but again, that's it for us. We're going to get out of here. I hope your Sunday is as smooth as eggs tomorrow. Take care, and we'll see you in about 2 weeks.